What's going on? This is TJ Murphy, and welcome to another episode of Adventurous Entrepreneurs. My guest today is Shawn Feurer. Shawn is a transformative mindset coach, speaker, and entrepreneur whose life journey epitomizes the power of positive thinking, gratitude, and personal accountability. His signature program, Inner Blueprint, combines the practicality of daily success rituals with the profound impact of subconscious reprogramming to help individuals in the home improvement industry and beyond achieve unparalleled success in their personal and professional lives. Shawn's personal story is one of resilience and rebirth. Having navigated through significant life challenges, including a major divorce and the loss of his mother to Alzheimer's, these experiences fueled his dedication to personal development and his commitment to helping others transform their lives through mindset shifts. Shawn emphasizes the importance of 100% accountability, the transformative power of writing a letter to one's future self, and the necessity of a healthy money mindset for financial success. A passionate advocate for the power of visualization and affirmations, Shawn has helped countless individuals redefine their understanding of wealth, happiness, and success. His teachings encourage a holistic approach to life where personal fulfillment and professional achievement go hand in hand. Shawn's work is a testament to the belief that with the right mindset, anyone can manifest the life they desire and deserve. Just a few of the golden takeaways Shawn shares in this episode are the transformative power of gratitude and positive thinking, the critical role of 100% accountability and personal growth, and the effectiveness of daily rituals in reprogramming the subconscious mind for success. So, without further ado, this is me and Shawn Feurer. Welcome to the Adventurous Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Murphy. Since quitting my corporate 9-to-5 and starting a business while backpacking through Asia back in early 2017, I've had the privilege of learning from some incredibly adventurous entrepreneurs. Through these conversations and my own journey, I've learned that much like in life, entrepreneurship is an adventure. On this podcast, I explore the journeys of top-performing leaders in their fields. These wide-ranging conversations include tactical business advice, how I built this insights, lessons in leadership, life hacks, travel stories, favorite hobbies, and insights into living a purposeful and joy-filled life. Adventures await us, so let's dive in. Hey, Shawn, welcome to Adventurous Entrepreneurs.
Hey, TJ, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and have this conversation today.
Dude, likewise, man. It's been fun jamming with you before we hit record here. So I know we're going to get into some good stuff and a little bit of an icebreaker, but you mentioned enjoy the ride as your motto. Can you expand on what that means to you, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a backstory. I actually came up with the mantra, enjoy the ride, when I was going through some of my most challenging things, both professionally and personally. After 20 years in the home improvement business and a very successful career, I was stepping away from that business. 20 years married. I didn't know it yet, but I was in the process of divorce, which took a couple of years. And the most challenging part of that was I was also in the process of losing my beautiful mother to early onset Alzheimer's at 63 years old. And through all these rock bottom things, and it's a big part of my story that I want to share today, but I was living in my parents' basement, Here I am, this 40-some-year-old who's, did everything right, went to college, got a degree, bought my first house when I was 20. And here I am going through a divorce, living in my parents' basement. I was still doing my work and trying to rebuild a new business that I'd stepped into. And every morning at 7:00, I'd get in my office and start on my calls. And my parents' bedroom was above me. And I'd hear my mom fighting with my dad because she didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And in those challenging moments, and it literally came to me, we're going to talk about the subconscious mind, but I believe it was a download. And I just heard the words, enjoy the ride. And I said, Shawn, you got to dig deep, man. Like right now, you've had a great life and you've had a lot of ups. Right now, you're in a little bit of a valley. And you got to find a way to enjoy this ride. You got to find a way to be strong for your dad, to be strong for your mom, to be strong for your kids, to be strong for yourself. And even though a lot of stuff's being piled up on the outside that isn't exactly what you tried to create, you got to find a way to power through it. So for me, enjoy the ride at its very simplest level is in every single moment we have a choice. Things come at us. They're not good. They're not bad. They just are. And in every moment I can try and choose a better feeling, a better emotion, and make it a better situation. So in the moments of losing my mother, I went to gratitude. And for me, I found gratitude to be a bridge from positive to negative thought. And so, yeah, that's enjoy the ride, man. If it's when life's throwing you some heavy things, it's like going to the gym. I'm going to lift them. I'm going to be grateful for the strength I gained from lifting them. And then on the flip side of that, at this low point when I came up with the mantra, I'd had a lot of success, but I was so busy building the next success that I didn't enjoy the ride when I was on the upside. And so, yeah, enjoy the ride is when we're in the valley. Just be grateful for the challenge. Just find better feeling emotions. And when you're on top, stop and smell the roses. And so enjoy the ride is really a mindset. It's like, in every moment, I have an opportunity to choose gratitude. I have an opportunity to choose happiness, and I have an opportunity to grow and learn. And so, yeah, to me, enjoy the ride is more than a mantra. It's a movement. And I'm trying to create more positivity in every conversation I have. So we're going to bring some enjoy the ride into today. I promise you.
Man, you're speaking my language, bro. And yeah, it's a lifestyle, and our inputs ultimately are what dictate what our outputs are. And clearly you went through a very hard season there. And gosh, we're all going to have that at some point. We're all going through it. Every day is a grind, and some days are good, some days are bad, but that attitude of gratitude, being able to ground yourself in some sort of gratitude practice, for me, just looking at the positive and everything. Like, yeah, life throws some shit at you, but there's always something to be grateful for. There's always something positive happening in some way, shape, or form. So being able to separate the bad and just trying to live in that good vibe mode, it's just going to create abundance around you. The input of gratitude or positivity or just realigning on something that isn't negative. When you put that in your mind, that's what comes out on the back end in reality. So thank you for sharing that, man. And let's dive deep into what was the journey like from there. Can you tell us a little bit about your story leading up to you becoming the adventurous entrepreneur that you are today, enjoying the ride every day?
Yes. And if we go back, 2014 to 2016 is when I was going through those challenging times, after building a very successful home improvement company, after building what I thought was a beautiful marriage and life, I was basically losing it all. And it's interesting, going back to enjoy the ride, and I want to hit this on gratitude just one more time. Wayne Dyer used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And for me, I had to take a pivot. I'd say, okay, right now you're at rock bottom. When I work with clients on mindset, I say we have the trifecta: finances, health and wellness, and relationship with self. And in an intake and a strategy call, we kind of rate you. And if I rated myself at that time, I was probably a 2 out of 10 on all three of them. My finances were a mess. I was short selling my $1 million home. I was going, process of divorce, given what assets I had, cashing them out and paying my way through alimony and a settlement. My health, because of the stress of all that, I had doctors telling me I was supposed to be on testosterone. I was already on 2 prescriptions for indigestion and heartburn. I couldn't even sleep without putting blocks under my bed.
Wow.
And they wanted me on a bunch of antidepressants. And because of some of the things I saw with my mom and her anxiety, which turned into, at some point, early onset Alzheimer's, I was against all of that. And so I made those decisions. I said, I'm going to enjoy the ride. I said, I'm going to go to gratitude. One thing for listeners I want to drop: if you want to add an easy gratitude practice, go to Google, type in Brother David, a grateful day. You're going to pull up a 5-minute video. I call it a meditation. And I listen to it every single day. I've been listening to it for the last 5 years. I don't miss a day. I listen to it with my wife. I listen to it with my kids on the drive to school. And a grateful day is this premise. Brother David explains in this little 5 minutes that what if today was your first day in this life? And even if it's a challenging life, what if yesterday you were in a more challenging life? What if you were homeless? What if you were in a third world country and you didn't? He talks about drinkable water. He talks about being grateful that my eyes open. And so I start my day between the pillar of that. And then in the same 5 minutes, he says, what if it was your only day? And the space I can create for magic in my life with my mindset, saying, hey, today is a gift. I woke up this morning in my beautiful dream home with my beautiful wife, my beautiful kids, my 2 French bulldogs, my 2 lovebirds. And I went back to 2016 when I was in my parents' basement. And if I would have gone from that day to this day, there's not one thing today that can make me have a bad day, because I'm so blessed in comparison to what I was then. And if I use that mindset as a set point, and then what if I don't get tomorrow? There are people that will go to sleep tonight and not wake up tomorrow. And Amen. I'm going to treat today. I mean, I've been doing work with clients on mindset. I get to be on this amazing podcast, and I'm going to share as much of my positive message. So I'm making today count. So that's where this started. That started with the mindset. So if we go to 2016, after a very successful career in the home improvement industry, after building what looked like an amazing life, I had the house, I had the cars, I had the vacations, I realized I had some work to do on me. And so the first decision I made was 100% accountability. I'm a big student. I've had the opportunity to facilitate with Jack Canfield. 100% accountability means everything in my life at that point, my health, my money situation, and even my divorce. I had to look at what I created that wasn't good in that marriage. And so I started taking 100% accountability. From there, in the last 8 years, I've built the most beautiful life possible. And I've done it day by day, just using gratitude to start the day. And then I do a lot of affirmation work, a lot of visualization, and a lot of reprogramming in my subconscious mind. We do not attract what we want, we attract who we are. And the man I was in 2016 wasn't very good. He was kind of broken, and it was all my fault. I could blame it on things. We have a choice.
Always someone to blame.
Victim or victor, right? And I choose to be a victor. I choose that every challenge just makes me stronger. Yes. So from there, at the time I was working, after 20 years in the home improvement business as a successful contractor, I went to work for a national training organization. And I spent from 2014 to 2018 training the most successful contractors around the nation in the best business process that I knew of, the best sales process that I knew of, and even the best operations and production management. And so fast forward 2018, I've done all this work on myself. I've been working with these clients. I have about 70 companies I'm working with, and they're not seeing the success they should. Best process only works at the level of the mindset of the individual being plugged into it. And so I went on a journey, on a search. And every time we look for it, they always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And my teacher was Bob Proctor.
Nice.
I'll never forget, it was 3 a.m. I woke up in the middle of the night. I've been searching for a tool. I've been thinking about starting my own consulting business and breaking off from this training organization and going to work to help people that had good process think better thoughts so they could get better results. And you see it there on my shelf, thinking into results. At 3 a.m., I discovered Bob Proctor. He gave me a visual for the mind, which is that little funny stick figure sitting next to that there on the shelf. And light bulbs went off. Oh my gosh. Everything I've tried to do, I'm dealing with these subconscious paradigms that are limiting me. I've got limiters. The word mindset, people say it as one word. It's two words. Where's your mindset on money? Where's your mindset on health and wellness? Where's your mindset? And once you dive into that, so I left, I resigned from the position, and I was a top consultant for this company. I had 70, clients I was working with, and I jumped. I took the entrepreneurial seizure and started over. And I was still restarting from divorce. I mean, I literally been living in basements, paying, friends and family $500 a month to live in a basement while I did, coaching calls on process. And the first thing Bob Proctor said is, Shawn, become a product of this product. If you want to think your way to better results, if you want to teach people how to do it, you have to do it yourself. So the first 6 months I was there, I became one of the top consultants for thinking into results. I made Bob's inner circle. We had about 1,500 consultants worldwide, and I was in the top 20. Wow. And I stayed there consistently for years. And as I did that, I rebuilt my life. And this time, the story I told you, I had all that cool shit on the outside. I still had some holes inside. My dad left me twice by the time I was 6. I didn't see him again until I was in my late 20s. That left a hole that no matter what I built on the outside, it was never going to be enough. It was never going to be enough. And so I went to work on the inside, and I used thinking and results for the tool it is. Take a big idea. Think as big as you can. Identify the reasons you think you can't have it. Systematically attack those with affirmations, with visualization, with things that we know that we don't implement on how to do. And from there, I built a very successful mindset program. I've got my own program now called Inner Blueprint, Remodel Your Mind for Success, which is designed specifically for the home improvement business. It actually works for any industry. Yeah. But yeah, that's my story. I went from a successful contractor to a not very successful human being to now a very successful mindset coach that coaches some of the greatest minds in the industry. Bob Proctor, before his passing, I was one of his top consultants, and I, soaked it all up. Jack Canfield, I've worked with closely. I actually have the privilege of facilitating luxury retreats with him once a year. I'm going this fall to work with him, but every day I just got off 3 client calls, some one-on work. I do a lot of group coaching. Life comes at you every single day. And as an entrepreneur, it's an adventure. That's the name
It's
of
an
this podcast.
adventure, man. It's an adventure.
Yeah. You know, in my world, the home improvement, I always say in the home improvement industry, the best run companies are organized chaos. You're dealing with old homes, weather, and human beings, all variables that are going to do what they're going to do. I can't control the weather. I can't control my employees. And I sure as heck can't control my challenging homeowners. So when I get in situations, I use my mindset to create better thoughts, to create better feelings, which create better actions, which ultimately create the results I desire.
Amen, dude. Well, what an incredible story, first off. But I love the fact that, I mean, you put in the work. You did the mindset push-ups to be able to get into this state that you are in now, that's led you to such an incredible level of success, not just professionally, but having that freedom, having that lifestyle, being intentional about what success looks like to you in business, but also in your personal life, man. So kudos to you. And there's probably a lot too much to impact everything fully, but can you explain a little bit about, maybe what your daily ritual looks like around mindset? You talked about visualization, you talked about this gratitude practice with brother David, which I'll definitely be dropping the link to that in the show notes. But is there any sort of process that you go through?
Yeah, and I want to go back to 2014, because in 2014, I was listening to a kind of a spiritual teacher, Esther Hicks. I don't know if you've ever heard of Esther Hicks, but she, and she's a little woo. Some people are like, I don't know if I believe in channeling. I don't know if I believe in the energy, but anytime I listened to her during that time, I was getting truth. And the first step I would take is write yourself a life script letter. You know, in 2014, as I described, my finances were a mess, my health and wellness was a mess, and my relationships were a mess. And I didn't like any of it. And so I took and I saved them and I used it in my coaching. I typed this letter, and if I had to go back, I'd write it, because I now understand the power of writing versus the power of typing on a computer.
Yeah.
But I wrote 2 pages, and not what I was experiencing, what I wanted to experience. So the first step for you is to create a vision in your mind of what you want. And I hope you're in a better place listening to this than I was, but wherever you are, take your mind to a better place. And a lot of people get stuck in good. I think for me, I was in good for a while, and then I got in a comfort zone, and that's when I ended up slipping backwards. But wherever you are, present tense, write yourself a letter, and write it present tense as if it's already true. And I did this. And this letter, when I wrote it in 2014, was complete bullshit. It was complete non-truths. Like, I'm so grateful for my strong, clear mind. My mind was a mess. At this time, I'm happy to say I'm physically in the best shape of my life. I was sick. I was in dis-ease in my body, right? I wasn't able to do anything that I say I'm able to do. I love the relationships I have in my life. To have the kind of companionship I have is truly a blessing. I was in counseling for 2 years after this letter until I got divorced. This was anything but true. My work, I'm so happy and thankful I finally found my calling. None of it was true. But the challenge to you is to write a letter. It's really easy. And I've shared on my social media kind of a short. The coolest thing in the world about this, TJ, is I videoed myself. I get to see that broken man, the hurt in his eyes. You know, my wife today says, Shawn, if I'd have met you, I don't think I would have dated you. I know I wouldn't have dated me back then, right? But I have that contrast to say that was who I was, and this is who I created. You know, and one of my favorites, if you ever watched Tony Robbins, he's got a Netflix special, I'm Not Your Guru. And he stands on the stage and he goes from his ankles to his head and says, I built this mother effer from the ground up. And I get to say with this letter, I built this man from the ground up. And it started with a letter. Not one bit of it was true today or then. Everything in it is true today, including the beautiful home. I wrote about the basement where the kids hang out. My 4 kids are out of the house. They're all in their 20s. God brought me 2 bonus daughters. They're in my basement with the home theater that I described, with the vehicles that are parked in my garage. So first step, if you want a better life, make your movie, make your script, write what you want, what you deserve, present tense as if it's already happened. Now, from there, TJ, I didn't read that every day. I didn't. But to reprogram your mind for success and for even more success, you have to do daily rituals, as you asked. So what does my ritual look like today? Every single day, I start my day with 5 minutes of gratitude. And for me, I do thank God for my eyes open today. I do thank God for the sun coming up and for to the very simplistic level. And then I thank him for what's coming. I thank him for the $100 million personal development training organization I'm building for the home improvement space. It might be 5 years away, it might be 10 years away, but I thank him for it now because I know it's coming. Once I get done with my gratitudes, and I have them memorized now, but I have my own black cards, and these aren't my Amex black cards. These are my goal cards. And this one has my worthy goal. my inner blueprint, and I say it every single day. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a personal development company that's $100 million. I'm a chain breaker. I'm a freedom maker. I have $8.333 million flowing through my business associates account, which allows $1.66 million to flow to my personal accounts, allowing Miss Caitlin and I to do what we want, when we want, with who we want, loving and inspiring all 6 of our beautiful children and everyone we come in contact with to do the same. And then I go into my affirmations. What do I need to affirm to become the man that runs that company? I am powerful. I am love. I am light. I am abundant. I am blessed. For thousands of people I've worked with, every single one of us, we lack enoughness. And so I say, I am enough. I am always enough. I've always been enough. And as I create the vibration inside of me of that $100 million goal, I attack it with affirmations that are going to pull out my self-limiting beliefs. I do the gratitude. I'm ready for the day. And literally, that is the single most important thing to my success, is getting myself in the right mindset every single day, so I can have beautiful conversations, so I can have beautiful impact. And I've now got a group of almost 40 business owners in the home improvement space that do these daily rituals. I've got a bunch of their sales professionals, in-home sales reps doing the same thing. I've got a bunch of leaders in the home improvement industry. And interestingly enough, I've got a women's group. Hell yeah. I used to have some of the wives in what's now the men's group, and they wanted their own space. And so we started with a few home improvement contractors. Today, I've got a 20-year-old college student who her dad's in my men's group, and I've got a 70-year-old dear friend of mine's mom in the women's group. And I help all of them create daily rituals for success, right? Life's going to hand us this crap on the outside. We don't create from the outside in, we create from the inside out. And the more work I do on me every single day, consistently, the better results I'm going to get.
Man, I love the legacy that you're building here, and it's reigniting a fire in me to revisit my daily rituals. But coming to your letter, like that's something that I have done a few times throughout, the last 10 years, and being able to do it in that first person. I'm consistently, making $10,000 sale days. I live a life where I get to, cut out of work and go paddleboarding, skiing with my wife and my friends on my own terms, on my own time. Like being able to write something like that and then reading it to yourself out loud every single day, similar to your cards, for me was a game changer. And
yeah, well, I encourage you to lean in on it, man. If you're already having success, you're already doing well. It's so funny because people get into that routine and then they go back. And you want to hear my understanding of why we go back?
Yeah, please.
So let's talk a little bit. So the subconscious mind controls 95% of our daily activity. And the subconscious mind has 2 jobs from our creator. It keeps us efficient and it keeps us safe, right? And what reside in the subconscious mind are these things called paradigms, collections of thoughts, habits, and beliefs. You have to ask yourself, well, how did that stuff get there? Newborn baby, born in perfection, no self-limiting beliefs, doesn't know what to believe about anything. So how does it get programmed? Spaced repetition of thought, hearing things over and over, or emotional events. I didn't know to speak English. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. My parents spoke English. I speak English. They like Coca-Cola, mac and cheese, and ketchup. Those are still 3 of my staples, even though I know they're not the best for me. My parents aren't here anymore. Both, every once in a while, I splurge because it means something to me. But just that basic understanding of, okay, when I described when I wrote the letter, I was broken. But as I started looking into my beliefs, I had limits on self-worth. I had limits on my abundance. I had limits. And this is my aha moment. And at first I was really mad. I've been living 40 years of life on information in my subconscious mind that isn't true for me and isn't even mine. It all comes from the outside world. And so what we're doing with affirmation work, with visualization, is with spaced repetition of thought, doing it over and over every single day, we're making that a program. And once it becomes automatic, I don't think about being healthy. I work out without thinking about it now. I eat better without thinking of it because I've programmed it. The gratitude I mentioned, because I've listened to that every day for 5 years, I don't try to be grateful. I'm not in the process of being grateful. I just am grateful.
Gratitude is the default, not something that you have to lean on.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, even now when I get in challenging situations, I'm grateful. I'm like, okay, God's throwing some weight on the bar. I was only pressing this much, and I got to lift a little bit more. I'm thankful for the choice to try and lift it. And once I do, I know I'll be stronger. So yeah, that's really what I lean into on a daily basis.
Man, so it's like this abundance mindset. In my research for this, came across something you like to say, life always happens for me, not to me. It is that abundant mindset, this positive, like you're manifesting what is going to happen. It's a powerful perspective to have. And clearly you've been able to embrace this through dedicated practice. You touched on limiting beliefs. I think this is at the core of getting beyond that. But when you're working, one-on-one or in these group settings with people, what are some of those common self-limiting beliefs? Let's call them out so people can know, like, and relate to the fact that, hey, we're all going through this. But then how are you helping people get through them and have that first step toward breakthrough?
So one of the first things that I've seen people have is their money mindset. And if you think about the most money you've ever made, for most people, they don't vary that very much throughout a career. I mean, a commissioned salesperson that I work with, if they make about 100 grand a year, no matter how hard they try, if they get to July and they're close to 100, statistically, with the law of averages, they end up having a really soft fourth quarter. And the same rep the next year can be behind in October. And because their lifestyle, their thermostat, everything is set to that 100 grand, they end up having the best fourth quarter they've ever had. And so I work a lot with people on their money mindset. Through mathematics and programming in school, a lot of us use zero as a set point. Yeah, it's using the law of relativity from the laws of the universe. Everything is a lot to zero. If my money mindset is 100,000 is a lot compared to it. So I've done a lot of work, and I work with clients on their money mindset. Every single day I used to say $83,333.33 effortlessly flowing in my bank account. I wired my subconscious that now $1 million a year was the new set point. Once I did, when I was going through some challenging things with divorce, I'd get surprise bills for my kid's mom, and I'd be, oh my gosh, 500,000, 5,000, that's a lot compared to zero. But once I changed my mindset, Bob Proctor used to say, make $1 million small in your mind and you'll make it small in the physical. And I did that to the point now, I've had $1 million wins. I had a huge investment come through that I had this huge win. I couldn't have created it on my own, but just doing the affirmation work, it literally came to me all at once. So now I've raised mine to 100 million. And most of my home improvement contractors want to build $100 million organizations. So look at your money mindset. Look where it came from. I had a call with a sales rep. He's a younger gentleman that's doing really well, but he's flatlined it around 100 grand. When we got on the call, we dove into his story. He is making more than both of his parents combined, who both worked multiple jobs, laborers, and he's in khakis running around South Florida selling home improvements, making more money. He had the level of guilt and shame. That's a self-limiting belief. And it was programmed by watching his hardworking parents, and they talked about money in a different way. Yeah. Doesn't grow on trees. It's hard work. Now he's making it easy, and he could make twice that. There's commission reps in my industry that make $500,000 a year. Yeah. So I went to work. I said, money's just energy. Remove limiting beliefs around money. The more energy I have in my experience, the better I'm going to do good with it. And we're seeing him lean into it. A lot of us have tattered self-images. And I'm a big fan of the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, who was a cosmetic surgeon that would do repairs to the exterior image of somebody. If they had what they thought was an unsightly nose, a cleft lip, he would do the work. And he's the one that really discovered and did a lot of work on the concept that we have two images, the one outside that we see in the mirror and the one inside that we hold in our mind. Yeah. And so I do a lot of work with people, the version of me that you're seeing today, I held that version in my mind of what I looked like, what I acted like. I just posted on my social media. I have a picture of me in 2016 and a picture of me today. Unrecognizable. Like, it's completely different. And I didn't go to a cosmetic surgeon. I have a friend of mine that does injections, and she tried to do some Botox on me. I let her do it one time, but I don't do any of that. Yep. But I look younger today than I did 10 years ago. And I give it all credit to doing the affirmation work on the inside. So money mindset is something you need to work on. Yeah. Your self-image. We don't attract what we want. We attract who we are. Build the person inside, self-love, confidence. From my space, and I think it's true with a lot of entrepreneurs, most construction people didn't go to business school. They're either a really good installer or a really good salesperson. And in order to do that, they had to do everything. So they have control paradigms. And when they get their business to a certain level, they're trying to micromanage and control all the employees. So I work on the control paradigm. You don't have to control everything. You have to let go. You have to allow. You have to trust. And so we attack the control. This one relates to time and money, but almost everybody has some level of scarcity mindset. Not enough time, not enough money, can't get my to-do list done. And so I work on that. A lot of people, I'm really working on the scarcity mindset. You have to reframe that to abundance. And you know, people pleaser. A lot of my women in the women's group, they try and serve everybody. They try and serve everybody but themselves. And one of the biggest paradigms is that it's selfish to take care of you. And if you think about it, and I actually just did a podcast for a teen mom podcast, and the lady's like, we got to make sure the women relate to you, Shawn, as a man and as a dad, not a mom. But I said, when you get on an airplane, I have 6 kids. Now, some of them are adults, but if they were all children, and I got on and the stewardess said, Shawn, if we run into a situation where we need oxygen, put it on you first and then your 6 kiddos. If I ignored that and we got into a situation, I tried to put it on all 6 of my children, there's a chance by the time it got to me, I wouldn't be able to take care of my kids. And so you have to give yourself permission. So that's a paradigm I work on with people, a self-limiting belief. It's okay. With mindset work, I say, give yourself an hour a day to meditate, to visualize, to do your affirmations, to maybe exercise a little bit. And if you give yourself that hour, that's going to give you oxygen to share with everybody and anybody you want. When I was broken, man, I use the analogy of the giving tree. I gave the little boy the apples. I gave him my tree branches. I cut up my trunk and I ended up a stump. And so a big paradigm we have is that it's selfish to take care of us. And you got to rewire that. You got to do some affirmation work. You got to do some inward reflection and say, you know what, for me to be the most powerful servant to those I want to serve the most, I got to fill my bucket first every day. And when my bucket's full, I can overflow it to any bucket I come in contact with and I choose. So those are some of the main ones. The Superman or Superwoman, I can do it all myself. I don't need anybody. And a lot of that comes from, if you leaned on parents that abandoned you or bailed on you, you learned at a young age to be very self-sufficient. And then you get into life and you've got cool people, maybe a possible partner in life or in business, and you think you don't need that help because of that paradigm. You can block powerful collaboration by trying to be superhuman. And we're not, we're not. So those are a few of them.
Oh, those are the big ones that stand out to me. And you cannot pour from an empty glass. You can't pour into a leaky bucket and expect it to hold water. So you got to work on yourself first so that you can pour into the world and create that abundance for yourself, but also for everyone around you. But let's use the money example, because I think that's a big one, usually deep seated in how you were raised, how your parents thought about money and what that lived experience was like. So you talk about meditation. We've talked about just doing this work consistently, but for somebody who's in that mindset situation and that they don't know where to go to start, they don't know what to do. Like what do you recommend for them just to break that paradigm around money or anything that they're working through? Like what is that first step that they need to work on consistently?
So the first step I would take is it's not money, it's energy.
Yeah.
Just think about it as energy and what are you going to do with energy? And, just like a light switch will shut the flow of energy. Sometimes our subconscious mind shuts the switch on money. I mean, I actually have a massage therapist and kind of a hypnotherapist that I go to, and she's blocking her abundance. And we were talking about it one day. And I just said, what's your hang up with money? I said, when I'm with you, you give me so much value. And I pay her more than she charges because I get more value. And I said, I want you to think about it. So you give your energy all day long to people. You have to reframe that you deserve as much energy back as you're giving out. So that's the first step. And she totally shifted. She's charging more. She's happier. So the first thing is just your relationship with money. What do you think it is? Is it the root of all evil? Does it grow on trees? Like, I think it grows on trees. I'm going to go to the abundance side of it, but fix your relationship with money as far as what it is. And it's a tool. Does money make me happy? No. But I've been broke and I've had a lot of money and I'm able to create more abundance and happiness when I have money in my pocket than when I've got my hand out looking for it. And then the second is figure out where your set point is. If we're rating on a scale of 1 to 10 and you're making 100 grand, 200 grand, 50 grand, it doesn't matter. If for you that's an 8 out of 10, you need to change the scale. You need to raise the number. And you can't go to the ridiculous initially, but I would say multiply by at least 5. So if you've consistently made, let's just use 100 grand, I would go to 500 grand and I would, in your mind, start creating, what does it look and feel like if I'm making 500 grand? And then divide it by 12. To me, $1 million is $83,333.33. And I love playing with numbers that are off like that because when I'm programming my mind, I need to make it sticky. If I just say 100 grand or if I just say 80 grand, it's bullshit because I don't believe it and it hits that way. So if I say a specific number, I've found my subconscious seems to pay more attention. So even somebody that wants to make a $500,000, I'd go $44,444 every single month, effortlessly flowing. And if you say that every day, and again, the naysayers will say, that doesn't work. And I'll say, why? Well, I've done affirmation work. Okay, how many days? Well, I did it for a week and it felt funny and uncomfortable, so I stopped doing it. That's the point. The reason it feels silly and uncomfortable is you don't believe it. So if you start telling yourself you make 5 times what you make every month and it feels uncomfortable, keep saying it until it feels comfortable. And the second it feels comfortable, you've now got a new money set point. Like the second it's comfortable and you start to get a little bit of belief, you're on your way to making that much money. And it really is that simple. We make it hard every single day.
Yeah, it's human
nature. With our bullshit, I'm going to have to work so much to make that much money. I'll never forget, I did an intake call with a friend of mine who'd been a client of me at the past company I worked for. Runs a $35 million company, makes more money than he needs. He does everything he likes. And I'm like, he's like, Shawn, how do I raise my mindset? He's a huge Bucs fan. He loves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's got box seats for every game.
Oh, yeah.
I said, what if you owned the Buccaneers? And I'll never forget because he started laughing. And then he went to self-limiting beliefs, the reason that he shouldn't own the Bucs. And part of it was a time commitment. Part of it was he didn't want to be on TV, a self-image. And as we dove into it, the only thing holding him back from trying to do that was a bunch of BS. And so he doesn't want to own them at a core level. But if he did, I showed him how he could actually make that happen with his mindset. So that's the power of this thinking, is get outside of your comfort zone, think bigger thoughts. And then by spaced repetition of thought, the way all your self-limiting beliefs got there, you reprogram. And you can attack your money mindset very, very easily, very effectively with daily affirmation, visualization.
Powerful exercise. And it just makes me think, like, when you have that work done, you've worked on yourself, you got that strong foundation, your mindset is right, decision making becomes a lot easier. And you advocate for a powerful decision making process, and you're using it to help transform lives. Can you walk us through how you approach decisions and how you help people get aligned on how to make the right decisions, both in personal and professional settings?
Yeah. And it's interesting. My module 1 in Inner Blueprint is, what do you want?
Yeah.
And part of figuring out what you want is making a decision. I mean, there is so much power in a decision. For me, the decision that I was responsible for everything in my life, and the decision that I didn't like it, and the decision to change it, is all one powerful decision that changed the course of history for me. So I guess the first thing before you make decisions is you got to decide what you want. And this is an interesting process. When we start trying to figure out what you want, most people will tell you what they think they can have. They've conditioned themselves not even to think about what they want. So I guess, talking to the power of decision, make a decision to decide what you really want in your professional career, in your personal life, in your health and wellness. Like, just make a decision. And there's not a step-by-step to this. It's just get out of your head and make one. Like, it's that simple. To me, life is full of gray, but when I come to decisions, it's black or white. This is a yes or this is a no. And for me, it's either a hell yes or it's a hell no, right?
That's if it's not a full body yes, it should be a no.
Yeah. And, and I don't want to get into alto, but I've studied muscle testing and connecting to the higher self. Somebody can muscle test you and tell you if a supplement is good or bad for you. There's studies that there was a congregation that had a whole bunch of religions, and they put up a picture of Jesus Christ. Some of the religions didn't believe in it, but he signifies good to most people. Everybody muscle tested strong. On the same screen, they put up a picture of Adolf Hitler. Muscle tested everybody. Everybody tested weak. How does the body know? So when I'm making a decision, I go to my intuition and I ask myself, how does this feel for me? And when I get to my intuition, this is interesting because our self-limiting beliefs, our gut, will sometimes try to come from our subconscious mind, which is just trying to keep us safe. So I always look for, when I'm trying to get an answer of what's the right decision for me, is it coming from a place of strength and power, or is it coming from a place of anxiety and weakness? And usually anxiety and weakness is my subconscious mind interfering with my true intuition. So I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but that's
no, it is. It actually, I think it brings us full circle, to be honest, Shawn, because, we talk about the letter, writing your manifesto. What are you feeling every day? What does future TJ look like in a year, but speaking it as if it's in the now? When you have that clarity around the intentionality for how you want to live your life, who you want to be in it, what level of success, what that means to you, then decision making becomes a lot clearer, right? It's like, okay, does this thing get me to that? No. Nope.
Does it take me away? Yeah.
Yeah. Done.
I mean,
Moving on.
I mean, one of the mindsets I've changed, and my grandparents I have 6 grandparents because I was adopted by my stepdad. They all lived into their 80s. My biological mom and my stepdad both died in their early 60s. Now, that's a whole other story for a whole other day. But my mom had Alzheimer's. My dad had a lot of negativity. He was a negative wired thinker. But for me, I made a decision that I'm going to live to be a happy, healthy 100 years old. That's a mindset. And so because of that, that was my decision. Now every day, I stopped drinking alcohol a couple of years ago. That doesn't move me to 100. Coca-Cola, I love it. I have an emotional attachment to my mom. I only drink it once in a while. Maybe if I'm in Disneyland, maybe if I'm somewhere that it has an emotional meaning. But I just ask myself, and it is a simple decision. Does it move me to 100 or take me away? Daily exercise moves me towards being 100. I do it. Staying away from as many prescription medications for me, that moves me towards it. So it is the guiding light for every decision. My $100 million organization I'm building, does this move me towards it or away from it? If I have an extra hour in the afternoon, do I get on social media or do I study some material or start writing the program? You know what I mean? Every decision is guided. And it is really cool. I'll go back to my daily ritual. When I get the energy of my goal every day, that keeps me in alignment throughout the day. And sometimes before a podcast, before a coaching call, I'll say my inner blueprint goal one more time just to realign, because I might get in a tough conversation that gets me off track, gets me a little frustrated.
Yeah.
To reset my mind, I go back to, why am I doing this? Oh, that's right. I want to help millions of people worldwide remove self-limiting beliefs. So I'm going to get in that energy and I'm going to hop on the podcast with TJ, right? I mean, that's how I use it to decision make.
High five to that, brother. Yeah, no, that is money. And like, we could keep riffing on this all day because this is what I love to talk about. But it's been super timely for me. As we move to wrap up, I always ask this question, but give you a little bit of choice here. So it's a choose your own adventure question. So you can pick which one you'd like to answer, or both if you so desire.
Okay.
But first is, what's just a favorite place you visited in the past, say 5 years? Could be any time, but I'll give you a little bit of limit there. Like favorite trip you went on with your family, maybe it was a boys trip, or just a recent adventure you went on in your own neighborhood, your own city, your own backyard. But in either case, what was it like? Who was there? What made it so memorable? Maybe a favorite meal or drink you had, a lesson you learned. Give us a story.
So I just got back from my honeymoon. Actually, I got married on New Year's Eve, 12/31/23, 123. I've got it tattooed on my arm. But because we have teenage daughters, we didn't do the honeymoon, so we scheduled it for Valentine's. And so me and my wife just got back from Sandals, South Coast, Jamaica. We wanted to stay in over-the-water bungalows, and Bora Bora is not nice in February, and it's 30 hours of travel. So we went to Jamaica. And we stayed in overwater bungalows that are in the shape of a heart. I think there's about 16 of them.
That's
on
awesome.
Over Valentine's Day. So, and I've had a lot of nice vacations. We went to Greece for my 50th birthday together last year, and that was probably one of the most memorable trips I had until this one. But if you get a chance, I'm just going to plug. Everybody is kind of nervous about Jamaica. In fact, there's a travel warning. It's like a level 3 security warning. I create my own reality. I ignored that. I had a private ride. Another rabbit hole. My private ride, I just have to tell you this, TJ. I'm all about synchronicity. I get in the car, and we were delayed 2 hours on our flight. So it was a different driver than was supposed to originally pick us up. And within 5 minutes of leaving the airport, he's asking me about mindset. And his dad is a contractor, and my dad is a contractor. And we had a 90-minute ride. And by the time we got done, my worthy goal is to impact millions of people with mindset work. I'm going to mentor this kid in a gifted program. I'm not going to charge him because he doesn't have money, but he's going to teach my program to the Jamaican people. So that came out of that trip.
Man.
And sitting on the Caribbean on the back of a deck with a private butler bringing us whatever food. I just text, bring us this. They brought us the food. That was a trip of a lifetime for me. And to be, I always say, I have young clients that are trying to find their wife. And I said, man, it took me 50 years to build this. Don't be impatient. Just hold in your mind what you deserve and it'll come. So that was my adventure, man. Next year for Valentine's, I'm trying to get a bunch of friends so we can book out the whole heart.
The whole heart.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. Manifest destiny and meeting that guy and gifting him that opportunity. What an incredible story there. But dude, sounds like an amazing trip. I'm glad you and your wife got to go celebrate your love for each other in such an impactful way. Like that's just incredible, bro. So before we go, for somebody feeling stuck, maybe they're unsure of their path, what they should do next. What's that first question they should ask themselves to begin unlocking their true potential?
You know what's coming to me isn't a direct answer to that question, but a Jim Rohn quote comes to me. You're not a tree. If you don't like where you are, you can move. And that can be move your body, move location, change jobs, make a decision that you're going to start looking for something different that brings you more joy in your life. And for me, we talk about the programs that create our reality. If you want to know what programs you need to work on, you have to reverse engineer it. So I would take an assessment and I oversimplify it. Look at your money, look at your health and wellness, and look at your relationships. And wherever you rate the lowest, that's probably a good place to start. And reverse engineer, what do I know in my health and wellness that I should be doing that I'm not? What do I know in my money? If you're in a job that you've maxed out and you've maxed out and you've done everything you can, it might be time to think some different thoughts and start something doing differently. The one thing too I want to add, the base of the triangle, I make the finances the top. Believe it or not, that's the easy part. Most people struggle with the money, but the foundation of your money is your health and wellness and your relationship with you. And so I would work on the coolest thing I've found with mindset work is if I pick any of these three to work on, they all grow. When I become healthier and happier, my relationships get better, my money gets better. When I make more money, I have more money to spend on health and wellness and on my relationships. And when I'm in good relationships, I'm happier and more loved and supported. I take care of myself better for the people in my life, and I make more money for the people. So pick the one that's the lowest and then reverse engineer it. What do I know that I should be doing that I'm not? And what automatic program is running that's keeping me stuck there? And you can literally attack it one at a time.
Mm-hmm. And you're not a tree. So just take a step. It's okay if it ends up being the wrong step, but if you're unhappy with where you are now, the happiness isn't going to just magically come to you. You got to pick a direction and go for it. So just do it, man.
One of the saddest things in the world to me, I work remotely. I'm in my home office now. I didn't work from Jamaica. That was my honeymoon, but I can work from any locale. I can work from any time. I can set my calendar. And every once in a while I go out and get in the world in traffic. And I look around and I see people in bodies that they don't love. They're out of shape. You can see they're sick and not feeling good. They're in cars that they don't love to drive. And they're going to jobs that they don't enjoy. And they're going back to homes that there's not the happiness. Don't stay stuck. And again, pick one thing. That person, if they would get in better shape and choose them to get healthy, everything else would start to change with it. So if you're one of those people that's in a position that you deserve more, make a decision that you deserve more, and then go to work on one of those three things and watch the magic. And if you want help, I work specifically with the home improvement space. I have lots of free content on my social media. I am open. Right now I'm doing pro bono work for this kid in Jamaica. I've got a friend of mine from high school who's a wounded warrior. He was wounded at combat. 45 of his comrades died around him. I'm doing trade work for golf lessons and helping him with his mindset. I'm here. My mission is to help people. So if you're feeling stuck and my message resonated, I'm happy to offer 45 minutes of my time without any sales pitch just to get you unstuck. So if that resonates with you, take me up on it. If I help enough people, the money always takes care of itself. I'm not about the money. Man. I'm about the people. Yeah.
You help enough people, everything will work out. Shawn, for people that do want to break the pattern and take you up on that offer, where's the best way to get in touch with you, support you online, socials, all that kind of stuff?
So I have a digital business card that if you go to the website, Shawn F, SHAWNF 360.com. If you do it on your phone, it's going to pull up a contact that you can save. But from that link, you can go to my LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, podcast, and there's also a link to schedule a call. And if you schedule a call with me, just put TJ in the notes so I know where you come from, and I'm happy to hop on a call with you and see if I do some behavioral work. So I have an assessment. If you're a business owner, I do a free assessment for any business owner. And that's actually a tool you can use in any business. It gives you how you behave and what motivates you. And it's one of the best hiring and managing. I've been using that tool for 30 years. That's one process from the business world that I kept with my mindset work. And it gives me a good starting point. If you're, a certain personality, I know you're going to be easier or more challenging to help program. And it's a great starting point. I call that a strategy session. And it's a loss leader. I don't charge for it. I have no expectation of you buying anything. It's just a value add, and you'll get a 26-page report, and you'll come away with a meeting with better understanding of yourself. And most likely you'll want to use it as a tool in your business.
Amazing, man. Shawn, thank you for making that offer to everybody listening. Take him up on it, guys. This is life-changing stuff. You got to get your mindset right. So appreciate you, brother. Go ahead.
I'm offering a lot of free stuff here. I just want to give an ask to listeners. If you go to my social media and you like what you see, just share it for me. Just give it a like and give it a share. I'm trying to get the message out there, and I would love for somebody who doesn't have the money and needs some help to hear one of my messages and have it brighten their day. And so if you can help me spread that message, please help me do so. I'm not doing it for fame or glory. I'm doing it to spread the message across this globe. And so that's my only ask. If you like what you see on my social media, just give me a like and a share.
You've all heard Shawn's mission here. He's trying to impact lives around the world. Go do it. It's an easy thing, especially if you got some value out of here. Go share that love. So, Shawn, I appreciate you, brother. This has been value packed. Like I said, we could be chopping this up for hours, man. But we'll keep it tight right here. People can reach out to you for more. And yeah, man, I just want to say thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Appreciate what you do and helping people get their messages out. It's very needed in this world. So thank you.
To all of our Adventurous listeners, thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Please be sure to subscribe, download, and share this on social media or with someone you know will get some value from it. Leaving a review goes a long way in helping people find the show, and I personally appreciate reading them when they come in. So please go drop one if you have the time. We'll see you all next week, and remember, whether we're talking about business or the things that bring us joy outside of work, life is meant for exploring. So go out there and live it one adventure at a time.